अस्सलामु अलैकुम। पिछले चंद लेक्चर्स में हम सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग के बारे में बात कर रहे थे। आज थोड़ी सी रिकैप करते हैं। ये सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग जो है वो एक इम्पॉर्टेंट एक्टिविटी है या सेट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज़ है फ्रॉम क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस पर्सपेक्टिव। फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग ऑफ proper software engineering projects up till this time, and it will continue to be one of major and important quality assurance mechanism. Software testing में research भी जारी रहेगी। Software testing की मुख्तलिफ techniques, approaches, strategies और तमाम वो mechanisms develop किए जाते रहेंगे जिनसे सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग की एफिशिएंसी और इफ़ेक्टिवनेस और प्रोडक्टिविटी बेहतर से बेहतर होती जाए। और इन्हीं टॉपिक्स को हमने पिछले चंद लेक्चर्स में डिस्कस किया था, इन्हीं इश्यूज़ को डिस्कस किया था। मकसद यही है कि क्वालिटी को बेहतर किया जाए। आज से हम एक नए टॉपिक का, नए एरिया के ऊपर डिस्कशन शुरू करेंगे। ये एरिया भी सॉफ्टवेयर क्वालिटी के लिहाज से बहुत अहम है, सॉफ्टवेयर क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस के लिहाज से भी बहुत अहम है, और ये एरिया है सॉफ्टवेयर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मैनेजमेंट का। सॉफ्टवेयर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मैनेजमेंट भी रिसर्च के लिहाज से एक ओपन एरिया है। टूल्स की डेवलपमेंट भी हो रही है और बेहतर से बेहतर प्रोसेसेस और टेक्निक्स को यूज़ किया जा रहा है, और जो रिसर्च हो रही है वो इंडस्ट्री में उसके ऊपर प्रैक्टिस भी हो रही है। तो जैसे जैसे एकेडमिक्स में या रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में रिसर्च होती है उसको इंडस्ट्री अडॉप्ट करती जाती है। सो व्हाट वी विल डू टुडे इज़ स्टार्ट इंट्रोड्यूसिंग व्हाट सॉफ्टवेयर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मैनेजमेंट इज़। We will have a basic introduction of the concepts, the terminologies, and sort of we will set up a scope as to what software configuration management is. And in the later lectures, we will talk about software configuration management processes and how this impacts the quality of the software product and the overall quality assurance program. So let's begin our discussion. Clear. One thing is understood, that change is inevitable whenever software is built, whenever software is maintained. So changes will happen in all work products during all processes in software development and maintenance. So one cannot absolutely shut down and close the door on changes in software products. But what happens is that change increases the level of confusion among software engineers who are working on one product. Ideally, they should see or they should feel that there should no change, but that's not what the reality is. Ideally, they would want to complete their work before entertaining any changes or any change requests. And so we were talking about changes or requests for changes triggering confusion or creating confusion for software engineers. Confusion arises actually when changes are not analyzed before they are made, they are not recorded before they are implemented, and they are not reported to those who need to know, and changes are not controlled in a manner that will improve quality and reduce errors. And this actually is very confusing situation, and this can actually create a lot of mess in software projects. And so we need to minimize this confusion, or else our projects will get out of control. This area, that software configuration management that we are talking about today, is going to help us in minimizing this confusion. the art of coordinating change requests in software development activities to minimize confusion, to reduce errors, is called configuration management. And starting today, we will have this discussion for a few lectures on what software configuration management is and how this can improve quality of our software products. So software configuration management is the art of identifying, organizing, and controlling modifications or changes to the software being built by the programming team. Again, the goal is to maximize productivity by minimizing mistakes and defects. Now, this is a very high-end goal, and what we would want is that we do not set unrealistic examples and for that unrealistic expectations. And so, therefore, we will have to take into account all the problems that we face in configuration management, and we apply the concepts that are promoted by configuration management. Software configuration management is an umbrella activity. It is applied in all software development processes. It is not specific to waterfall model or spiral model or agile models, but it is an umbrella activity that is applied in all software development processes and in all activities of software development processes. So you can imagine that is software configuration management, being a set of activities which is applied in all activities in software development lifecycle. It is designed to control change by identifying the work products that are likely to change. As we have said that things will change throughout the development lifecycle, but there are certain work products which will change more than others. For example, requirements is one area which needs special attention when we are dealing with changes, because requirements change more often than any other work product. SCM activities also help in establishing relationship among those products that are going to change. They are needed to define mechanisms for managing different versions of these work products, because as we make changes in work products, we do not destroy the earlier versions, and so we need to keep track of different versions of work products. And also we need to control the changes that are being imposed on the development team. And also SCM activities are used for auditing and reporting purposes. Here you are looking at different purpose or reasons for SCM activities. It lists identify change. Number 2 is control change. Third is ensure that change is being properly implemented. And number 4 is one of the purposes is to report changes to others who may be interested or are impacted by these changes. If we don't control and manage changes, sooner or later these changes will control us. It's very easy for a stream of uncontrolled changes to turn a well-run software project into chaos. For that reason, software configuration management is an essential part of good project management activities and is a solid software engineering practice. It helps us in assuring high quality software product. Studies have shown that defects in software products relate more often to changing requirements. So if we can manage and control to a certain extent the changes that are being requested in software product, we can limit the number of defects that become injected into that product. Software configuration management also provides us a cover against lack of visibility. It provides us a cover against lack of control, lack of traceability, lack of monitoring, and it most importantly provides us a cover against uncontrolled changes. If we do not have SCM activities or SCM processes in place, then we will not be able to see what changes have been made without permission. We will not be able to control or manage the change request. We will not be able to see why this change request has been initiated and who has initiated. That is, we will not have traceability. And certainly, we will not be able to monitor any changes that are being made. We will not be able to monitor when the changes are being made and what is the impact of those changes, how these changes are going to affect the documents, the work products that follow the current work product. And so uncontrolled and unmanaged changes can mean a disaster for a software project. But if we have SCM mechanisms in place, so it provides means for visibility, for traceability, and formally controlling the evolution of software. We agree that there will be changes. There are no two opinions about it. So software products will evolve as the new requests for changes and new requests for features added. But this has to be done in a systematic way, and only software configuration management processes will ensure that they do. SCM, that is software configuration management, should be viewed as a software quality assurance activity, and it should be applied throughout the software development process. Let us now have some more discussion, some more detailed discussion on software configuration management. The items that comprise all information produced as part of the software process are collectively known as software configuration. They contain computer programs, they contain documents that describe the computer programs, they contain data. Documents also include requirements documents, design documents, SRS, test documents, project plans, pretty much everything. The number of items in the configuration or software configuration items or SCIs will grow as the project progresses towards completion. And in order for us to have a systematic and successful configuration management, we need to ensure that all the items in the software configuration are managed by the system, managed by the software configuration management system. This number, that is the software configuration items number, will grow continuously, and changes will be requested in almost every item, in almost every work project that is brought under the configuration management. So we can say that nothing is permanent except change in software projects. It is our responsibility as software engineers, as managers, and as corporations or organizations running software businesses, that we have a high quality software configuration management system in place. So no matter wherever you are, no matter where you are in the system life cycle, the system will change, and the desire to change it will persist throughout the life cycle. So software is like a sponge because of its susceptibility to change. It can change anytime. We emphasize this point again and again because the first step in planning and implementing a good software configuration management practice, we have to first realize that changes will occur, and then and only then we can define a process and implement that process to manage those changes. Let us now talk about different sources of changes. New business or market conditions dictate changes in product requirements or business rules. There can be government regulations, there can be other external factors which force organizations to adopt new businesses or to adapt new regulations. Similarly, new customer needs demand modification of data produced by information system, functionality delivered by software products, or services delivered by a computer-based system. And so, as the businesses of software customers grow, they enhance their needs, they enhance their services to their customers. And as a result, software products and services would have to provide new functionality. And so that is also a source of change. In this ever-changing and dynamic economy, reorganization of business, growth or downsizing causes changes in project priorities or software engineering team structures. This is happening all over the world. This is a new phenomena in new economies. Similarly, the budgetary or scheduling constraints cause a redefinition of the software system or the software product. And so these are some of the sources of change which require us to enable or to put in place a system, a process supported by software tools that can implement and manage these change requests in a flawless manner. Here you are looking at three very important areas why customers, why developers, and why managers want changes. Customers want to modify requirements so that they can improve their own businesses. Developers want to modify the technical approach so they can improve the productivity, so that they can apply the latest technology, so that they can use the best of the tools that are available now. And managers want to modify the project strategy so that they can make the project more successful so that they can utilize the shrinking resources and shrinking time given to them to complete project in the best possible manner. And so these are the reasons why everyone wants changes. The areas, the reasons why changes are everywhere. All of us, whether we are customers, whether we are developers, whether we are managers, we want to improve our products, we want to improve the services that we offer. So as the time passes, all the constituencies, all the stakeholders know more about what they need, which approach should be used, which approach is best in their minds, and how to get it done and still make money. And these are the three reasons why the three stakeholders that I've talked about want changes. So if I can say with a degree of certainty is that most changes in software projects are justified. Changes are not bad. Not managing changes is bad. So we in the software industry need to be ready to manage and implement changes in configuration items. We need to have mechanisms in place. We need to have policies in place and procedures in place to manage changes in all work product, to manage changes in all processes of software development, whether that is requirements, whether that's design, implementation, or testing. Here, let's now talk about how we can do it, how software configuration management can help us do it. In today's lecture, we will focus only on the concepts. We will take the processes of configuration management in later lecture. But let's now apply or learn about a concept that is known as baseline. A baseline is a software configuration management concept that helps us to control changes without seriously impeding justifiable change. We have agreed a few minutes ago that most changes are justified, and so we can use the concept of baselining that is provided by software configuration management to help us in controlling and managing software changes or change requests. You are looking at the formal definition of a baseline, and I'll read it to you: a specification or product that has been formally reviewed and agreed upon, that thereafter serves as the basis for further development, and that can be changed only through formal change control procedures, is a baseline. What this definition is telling us is that any software work product, whether that is a specification or a design or a program or a test plan or a test case, if that has been formally reviewed or inspected and the inspectors or reviewers agree on it, that will serve as basis for further development. Let me take you back to the discussion we had held when we were talking about inspections, and we said that no work project will be used as a basis for further development until such time that an inspection has been conducted on it. And so this is the same thing that I'm talking about here. And only after it has been reviewed or inspected that it becomes a baseline, and any changes that can be made to that particular work product will be made through formal change control procedures. The software configuration management provides that change control procedure. So you can see the importance of software configuration management in assuring the accuracy, the correctness, and the quality assurance activities or mechanisms it provides using baselines. Before a software configuration item becomes a baseline, changes may be made quickly and informally. However, once a baseline is established, changes can only be made with the specific formal procedures that are applied to evaluate and verify each change request. So once a baseline of a work product has been established, it is not easy to make changes to it. Although changes can be made to it, but all such change requests will be evaluated and the impact will be determined of such change requests, and only after a committee has approved these change requests will these change requests be made in the baseline. And there are other aspects of this process also which we will discuss in this course. So in the context of software engineering, a baseline is a milestone in the development of software that is marked by the delivery of one or more software configuration items. And approval of the software configuration items is obtained through a formal technical review or inspection. A configuration item cannot be declared a baseline until it has been reviewed and inspected. Typically, work products that are baselined include system specifications, software requirements, design specifications, source code, test plans, procedures, test data, and operational systems. You may choose to add more work products to this list if you want to. So we can say that software configuration management is an important element of software quality assurance program in any organization. Its primary responsibility is to control and manage changes. So any discussion on software configuration management introduces a set of following complex questions, and I'll talk about these questions in a minute. You need to listen carefully. Listen carefully to these questions. Each one of them is related to one or more aspects of software quality. Question number 1. How does an organization identify and manage the many existing versions of a program and its documentation in a manner that will enable change to be accommodated efficiently? You can think of an organization that has many versions of a program. And I'm talking about the very famous Microsoft Corporation, which has many versions of Windows operating system. It is difficult for that organization to identify and manage so many versions of just the operating system. Question number 2. How does an organization control changes before and after software is released to a customer? This question is easier to answer if we just limit ourselves to pre-release management of changes or controlling of changes. But once the software has been released to the customer, there is added complexity, there are added dimensions that need to be looked at when answering this question. Third is, who has the responsibility for approving and ranking changes? Let's say there are hundreds of changes or tens of changes that are being requested. Which change gets which priority, and who approves these changes? Who prioritizes them? Who evaluates them? Who decides that which change will be included in the product and which will be rejected? That is, who evaluates? The next question is, how can we ensure that changes have been made properly? We also had to deal with a similar question when we were talking about software inspections. And the fifth question is, what mechanism is used to appraise others of changes that are made? That is, how we trickle the information down to everyone who is impacted by or is interested in the changes or in the work product as a whole. These questions lead us to the definition of 5 fundamental software configuration management functions. We are looking at software configuration management functions. Number 1, identification of software configuration items. Number 2 is version control. Number 3 is change control. Number 4 is configuration audit. And number 5 is status accounting or reporting. Now we will take each one of them and I will introduce you to these fundamental SCM functions. We will continue to discuss them in later lectures, but today we will have only an introduction of these 5 functions of software configuration management. And the first one is identification. To control and manage software configuration items, each item must be separately named or numbered. The identification scheme is documented in the Software Configuration Management Plan, also known as SCM plan. This unique identification of each SCI item or software configuration item helps us in organization, in storage, and in retrieval of that configuration item. So it may sound trivial, but identifying uniquely each software configuration item is the first and the foremost step in the software configuration management activities. The second function is version control. Version control combines procedures and tools to manage different versions of configuration items that are created during the software process. For an organization which has only fewer versions, this may sound a trivial thing. That is, managing changes or managing different versions of the same product. But this becomes a complex and difficult task even for medium or moderately sized companies. Managing versions is a very laborious, very time-consuming and difficult task. And to do it without a policy, without a proper procedure is almost impossible. The naming scheme for software configuration items should incorporate the version number in it, so that for a project, one individual is able to retrieve the software configuration item of a specific version with a specific version number. So version number has to be part of the naming scheme of the configuration items. Configuration management allows a user to specify alternative configurations of the software system through the selection of appropriate versions. That means that if we have software configuration management mechanisms in place, then a user of that system can have multiple versions of the same document. I can say that this is version 1.1 of requirements document. This is version 1.2 of requirements document. This is version 2.0 of requirements document. So for the same, principally the same requirements document, I have mentioned 3 versions, and there is no limit to the number of versions a document can have. The version controlling is supported by associating attributes with each software version and then allowing a configuration to be specified and constructed if needed by describing the set of attributes. That is, as a user, I am able to develop a system or develop a set of products by selecting the versions I choose to. And so, as I was saying, that this is almost impossible without the help of good configuration management tools. And there are a number of configuration management tools available in the marketplace. The third software configuration management function is change control. Change control is vital. It is vital because if you allow too many changes, then we create problems. And if we allow too little changes, we create another set of problems. We impede progress. And so we need to develop processes and procedures to manage and allow change at the right level. The art of progress is to preserve order amid change and to preserve change amid order. These are the words of Alfred Whitehead, and so truly they apply to change control in software configuration management. For large projects, uncontrolled changes rapidly leads to chaos. And even for medium to large projects, change control combines human procedures and automated tools to provide a mechanism for the control of changes that are being made on a regular basis. The fourth function of software configuration management is configuration audit. And that is, what does that mean? It means ensuring that approved changes have been implemented? How can we ensure that the approved changes have actually been implemented in the work products? There are two ways. One is that you conduct formal technical reviews or inspections of those work products where changes were to be made. And second is that you perform software configuration audit. Formal technical reviews or inspections focus on technical correctness of the modified item. The reviewers or inspectors assess the software configuration item to determine consistency with other software configuration items. They look or assess for omissions and potential side effects. While the software configuration audit complements formal technical reviews or inspections by assessing configuration item for characteristics that are generally not considered during review. The software configuration item is conducted by Quality Assurance Group. We will have a much more detailed discussion on what questions and what issues are discussed in software configuration item in a later lecture. Finally, the fifth software configuration management function is status accounting or reporting. The status accounting and reporting function provides a corporate memory of project events that supports accomplishments of other software configuration management activities or functions. So when you are reporting or accounting, taking a status accounting of software configuration management, you need to ask questions like what happened, that is, what changes happened, who did those changes, and when did it happen. So you have to record the timings, and what else will be affected, which other work products or which other sections of the same work product will be affected by the change requests. So this is also a very important function, very important activity of software configuration management. And today we had an introductory discussion on software configuration management. As I've said before, software configuration management is an important part of software quality assurance program for all organizations. Doesn't matter what the size of software organization is, even for small teams which have 2 members, software configuration management mechanisms and procedures help them in ensuring software quality. In today's lecture, we had discussion on basic and fundamental concepts related to software configuration management. We will continue to discuss this very important topic in the next lecture. So until then, I take leave of you. Thank you very much.